Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Rabbi Dessler. Okay, so
the class before the class.
we could do a class after the class. Let me record this class, and then we'll do the class after the class. All right. Today's Monday morning, and there was lots of discussion over the last 24 hours with Donald Trump and his tariffs and what's happening in China and the new deals that are coming out. And there's a lot of chatter also even about what's going on in Israel right now. Palestinians were celebrating; they're releasing a U.S. hostage. Unclear why. We don't know what he's doing. And I tell people at the end of the day, if you think that Trump is running the show, you're living in La La Land. Donald Trump is not running the show. Donald Trump is a pawn, a puppet of Borei Olam, and we're not in control. Okay, he's gonna.
Since we're not unified, we're
and
suffering.
and when we're not unified, we're definitely suffering. And even if he's going to go ahead and make new policies in America, like taking away the pharmaceutical companies' ability to really profit, right? It doesn't really matter because that could change in an instant, right? And you and I are not in control ever. You and I could only do one thing in this world, and that's how we could choose how we want to respond to the world around us. That's it. I'm not here to worry. I'm just here to go ahead and be someone who's responsive. In that matter, we'll see. I think today markets are going to be very explosive because of the positive news. I think Bitcoin right now is poised to break 110,000. I think we're going to be in a very big bull market. But if things keep going on this path, we'll be in a big bull market. I think Bitcoin's going to break highs, and if it breaks one new high, it's going to break another one. It always comes in twos. So Bezrat Hashem, if you're in, you should be Matzliach. All right, fine. So she says as follows: receiving the Torah. This two modes. This was given in Gateshead in 1948. Okay, and he says as follows. He says it is well known that receiving Torah was not merely a one-time historical event in every generation, every year, every day. We have to receive the Torah anew. Right? B'chol yom ta'amid ma'aseh b'reishit. God is recreating the world, and there's even a mitzvah of receiving the Torah as well every single day. But there's a problem here that deserves careful thought. He says the Torah is God's Torah. It is divine intellect, as the Maral calls it. Just as God Himself is boundless and unending, so are His qualities. The Torah is divine wisdom, and as such immeasurable. As the book of Job says, quote, its measure is longer than the earth, meaning, as the Gaon of Vilna indicates, that one cannot even attempt to measure it since the units of measurement itself is longer than the earth. The Torah is greater than any physical concept that we can imagine. It is true that Torah enhances one's enjoyment in the physical world, but its purpose is immeasurably greater than this. The Torah is not subject to the limitations inherent in the physical world. We may ask, therefore, how man, with his spiritual intellectual limitation, can be expected to master this boundless and eternal Torah. Can you fathom the hidden depths of the deity? Meaning, if Torah is infinite and the Torah is an expression of Hashem, and we're supposed to learn the Torah itself, right? Then what are we really doing? If you add 1 to infinity, what does that make infinity? It makes it. You can't add that. Like, it's no matter what we do, we'll never be in a situation where we could actually master any aspect of Torah. Everything is. What's that?
You can tend there. You can try to go there.
You can show, there's the effort of trying, that's why the Gemara says Lefum Tzar Agra. As a matter of fact, the Gemara in Barachot says that the schuyot, the schar that you get for coming to a shiur has nothing to do with what you remember in the class. Rashi says it's schar halicha. The merit you get for coming to a shiur is the effort it took for you to walk downstairs, upstairs, or the effort it took you from your house to the Bet Knesset that you say you're going to go to. That is the real measure of success. And therefore, like I remember when I first started my Jewish learning, I remember thinking I want to be able to read the Zohar. So I remember for like a month, I would open up the Zohar and just read the Zohar. I had no idea what he was saying. And I did it, and I knew it didn't really matter because it's about the effort. How often do people think they're reading something and they really understand it? When in fact they don't understand. They think they understand it, when in fact they don't understand it. I'm guilty of that all the time. And therefore, when we're talking about the Torah being an extension of God's infiniteness, okay, well, what's the actual study then? The study is a study of the most basic, irrelevant concepts, but somehow you and I benefit from them. Like everyone will agree that Shabbat is unparalleled. There's nothing like Shabbat. No one could have figured out a Shabbat. There's no man that could have figured out, take 25 hours in the ancient world and you completely cut yourself away from all technology or work or whatever it was back then, and spend time trying to figure out how you can elevate time versus conquering space. No one thought like that. It just wasn't even like a wavelength. The idea that you have today in 2025 even, if you speak to the outside world, right, the non-Jewish world, and you ask them, do you have dinners with your children where they're not on their phone at dinner? Are you having your meals together? It doesn't exist anymore. By the way, it did exist when I was growing up, and it probably existed for sure when you were growing up in this country. When I grew up in America, when I grew up here, I was born here. When I grew up, we used to have dinners together as a family, and it stopped somehow. I don't know where it stopped. Somewhere like I would say like in the 90s, it just stopped. Everything just stopped. But there was a time where not only would we have as a family have a dinner, we'd have breakfast as a family. Not just on Sunday, every day. My mom would wake up early in the morning, she'd make us breakfast. I'd wake up to the smell of like breakfast being made in the house. That doesn't even happen in my house today. I can't even get breakfast with my wife. I have to make my own breakfast, right? Which is totally fine. I'm not bitter at all. What's that?
Probably the addition of women to the workforce.
Could be. I'm sure there's lots of different things that went into it, but the world certainly changed. Now, in 2025, it's impossible to get young kids today, teenagers. I have 6 kids. I get them at my table, a 25-year-old all the way down to an 8-year-old, having conversations on Parshat together. Where else could you do that? It's unbelievable. And that's part of the infinite mind of God, that He says, hey, this is the halakha, I'm sanctioning this law, you keep this, right? The concept of kedusha, of elevating something and making it special is profound. But I can understand why Rav Dessler is saying, hey, this is a daunting task. The bottom line is we're supposed to receive the Torah. Is it possible to receive something that's infinite when you are finite? And the answer is no. So then what are we doing? So he says as follows. We need to realize that our own unaided efforts shall never be able to master Torah, which is true. If you think that your own hishtadlut is enough for you to go ahead and to be mikabel, it's impossible. Everything that you have is a gift from Hashem. Right? Your high-powered precision thinking, your ability to be critical, your ability to think and to remember. These are all gifts from Hashem. It's a gift from God. Okay, it's a miracle. He says. How do we make ourselves worthy of this miracle? Wisdom comes forth from ayin, from the ayin, right?
From nothing.
From nothing. Which our rabbis interpret to mean the Torah means only with one who makes himself as nothing, as ayin, right? The Torah is described as a gift from the desert. Only if we divest ourselves from selfishness and self-importance and make ourselves like the desert in which no private interest can subsist, can we expect to be granted the gift of the Torah. Right? Torah is the gift of the nullification of the self. This is why we say, Reshit Chochmah Yirat Hashem, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. We talk about the idea that the most important midah for the developing of the self is oh my gosh, I'm blanking right now. It is what? It is anivut, is the most important midah. To be an anav.
Humility.
To be more, and that's why Moshe was able to accomplish so much what he accomplished, because he was able to make himself more anav than anyone else. He was the most humble man that ever walked the face of the planet, when he had every right to go ahead and be the most non-humble person in the world. But yet somehow he figures out a way of recognizing that God is infinite, and therefore I am a receiver of this, and there's nothing else. As a matter of fact, the first mission of Perkei Avot, how does it begin? Moshe kibel Torah mesinai. What's wrong with that? It should.
He got it at Sinai, not from
Not.
Sinai.
It should say. First of all, it doesn't say Har Sinai. It doesn't say from Hashem. It's just like a weird Mishnah. But the Mishnah starts with this concept of even Moshe, who was receiving something, cannot write in the Mishnah Perkei Avot that he received directly from God. Because how can a finite being receive something from an infinite being? It's impossible. So Hashem, the Mishnah talks about this concept of Sinai, which was another expression of humility. Moshe is humble. The mountain is humble. All these things are designed on purpose to recognize that if you want to find the chokhmah, the wisdom of the avot, right? The only way to do that is through an act of humility. And therefore, if you're someone who's pursuing wisdom and knowledge, you should be mindful that the more I know is the more I know not. The paradox of all knowledge is the more I know something, the more I realize how little I know of it. That is the beginning of what Rav Dessler is talking about over here in his receiving the Torah of Shabbat. So he says historically Israel's acceptance of the Torah had to be preceded by the declaration. La'aseh v'nishma, we shall do and we shall hear. They were prepared to obey before they understood, implying complete surrender to the will of God. From this attitude, comprehension grows. This is the condition for the giving and acceptance of the Torah. You think that you're going to, people often feel frustrated by their inability to understand something. They're disheartened. They're not motivated anymore. I give up. While there's a truth to that concept, it's not just surrendering and therefore not trying. It's surrendering and trying that equals the results that you want to get. We just stop halfway. I surrender, I give up. And I'm a very big believer in never giving up in anything. To be a Jew means you never surrender, no retreat, no surrender no matter what. We're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. We're here because of that. We're here because we're individuals that come from families that never gave up under the most ridiculous of circumstances. Circumstances that you and I might today may not be worth pushing through. This underlines the importance of learning Torah Lishma. For its own sake, the gift of Torah may be obtained only by laying aside self, by overcoming a selfish desire and all material limitations. He who learns Torah Lishma will find himself elevated above all the works of creation. Before one has corrected one's selfish midot, it would seem impossible to receive the Torah. How could anyone receive the Torah if you are filled with gava? You can't. On the other hand, we find statements of our rabbis which seem to indicate the precise opposite. For example, when they say God created Yetzer Hara, He created Torah as its as its condiment, right? Or mitzvot were given to refine human nature is the tavlin. Yes, yes. So they certainly imply that Torah is given to us in all our frailty to help us overcome limitations. Is this not a contradiction here? Meaning, if we're such weak individuals and the Torah is so great, then how are we able to go ahead and receive this in a way that is meaningful? It's impossible. And Bezrat Hashem, we're going to answer that question tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.